Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
Hey guys, it's Filthy and I'm back with another video. We've had a few days for patch 268 and the Season 20's theme to sink in. Whilst I think the overall reception for both was largely positive, there are some people who are disgruntled with the lack of buffs for some of the classes. So I thought it'd be good to go over these things missing from patch 268 and see if we can't maybe tempt the devs into improving on it, only slightly, but still improving on it all the same. Now this is meant to be a positive thing. I'm actually really happy with the season theme and the patch in general. This is just a couple of tweaks that I think we could maybe do to make it even better. So we'll recap the patch and the theme, although very briefly. We'll then talk about what's missing, maybe have a guess as to why it's missing, and then address how much of a problem this is and whether it matters. Maybe at the end I'll take a stab at a couple of solutions, but that's something that you guys can probably really help with in the comments. Before we jump in though, welcome if you are new around here. If you're already subbed, that's awesome, thanks for coming back to see me, and as always guys, a thumbs up really helps me out. And also if you do want to vote on what I'm going to cover first once PTR starts on Thursday, head over to the community tab on the YouTube channel and cast your vote. But other than that, let's get into it. Now the full patch notes for 268 are linked in the description, but in a nutshell the season's all about the cube. The season is called the Season of Forbidden Archives, and the cube is now totally open. So normally you'd have to choose one weapon power, one armor power and a jewelry power, but these restrictions are removed from seasonal play. So you can't put the same item in any slot, but other than that you can choose whatever you want. 3 weapons, 3 jewelry, 3 armor, any combination of them, just can't be the same item. Now I can see strong items like the Furnace, Squirt's Necklace and Ingiome, stuff like that being quite popular picks and working their way into some existing builds. Now obviously there will be some builds in the game where this has absolutely no impact, as every slot is spoken for with a fundamental item. Where I see this shining though is with Legacy of Dreams builds. Often when I make them there's many items that are simply best in slot rather than being essential for damage or survivability, and this shining with Legacy of Dreams will be important later in the video. Now we're also getting 3 new sets. Barb has got one based on Frenzy, Witch Doctor has one based on Spirit Barrage, and the Wizard is going to get a Hydra set. Now supporting items for these builds have also been buffed. It may be the case that Legacy of Dreams is a stronger way to run maybe the Wizard build, possibly Barb, although probably not, but we'll have to sort of see. But all this, all in all, is pretty excellent, so the question is, what's missing? Now I think 2 main things, and the first one, and definitely the most important for me, is no Demon Hunter buffs. Now the data that Blizz released in the developer blog, which I will also link in the description, is that the Demon Hunter is lagging about 5 GRs behind where they want it to be, and probably near 10 to the top performing class, which is the Crusader. Now obviously Crusader is getting a slight nerf this season because stutter stepping has been taken away from their top build, but even so Demon Hunter is definitely lagging behind. Now for the DH there are no new items, no set buffs, and it's also kinda hard to see how the season theme overly benefits them. So for me the Demon Hunter is the big loser in this patch. Now Legacy of Dreams Rapid Fire is up there as one of their top builds, and maybe opening up the cube will have some impact on this, but there's nothing really screaming out or jumping out at me that's going to make that build tremendously better. Now you could also argue Monks and Satyrs didn't get any changes, but I can certainly see the theme being more viable for those classes. I've got a couple of ideas that I'd like to test on PTR, but they both also did get new sets last season, and both those sets hit pretty strong. They've got some pretty good builds. So this brings us to the other class that didn't get any changes, and this is also something that I would really like to see change for 268, which is some Necro buffs. So setting the season theme aside for a minute, Necro is probably on average the worst sets in the game. Now the class according to the data from Blizz is miles away from where it should be, and the sets hit about as hard as being hit by a pillow in the face. Now I think an improvement to this patch and every patch moving forwards would be to give every class at least some new toys to play with. Add at least 1 power to an item or tweak at least 1 set number, just so that every class has got something to do. Now sure, the theme is shared across all classes for this season, but the DH in particular, this just feels kind of like the Legacy of Nightmare season for me, where Barb was largely left out in the cold of all the new stuff. So Barb on that season didn't really have any good Legacy of Nightmares builds, they didn't really get any buffs to the items, and it felt a bit sad because they were left out of the excitement, and that's kind of how I feel about DH this time around. The Necro probably doesn't have it quite so bad because they've got so many Legacy of Dreams builds that there might well be something to do. But maybe the question is why? Well, we do all know that the dev team is pretty small now that D3 is in classic games and efforts are being focused on the new sets. That's great, that's how it should be. I want the majority of the time to be on the newer stuff. We also have got 3 of the sets this season, whereas I'd expected 2, so again that's something to be very grateful for. Hopefully speaking, for the next season or the season after, we can address maybe more issues. So maybe the more important question is, does it actually matter? Well, I think Necro will be okay. The sheer size of multipliers on offer for weapons and jewellery probably almost guarantees some god tier push and speed builds, but for the DH I do think it's a different story, and I really do hope that they add something after PTR. So after 268 PTR is finished, maybe there's something they can add. And there is a slight precedent for this with the Inarius buff that just seemed to happen out of nowhere a few seasons ago, although I think we did get a second round of PTR for that. But I'd have no problem with that. If they did give the DH and maybe even Necro some love, I'd have no problem with doing another week of PTR to test, just as long as we can maybe get something. So Necro and DH will obviously be getting their sets next season, but I think to put fans of these classes over, I'd suggest just a simple number tweak. So I'd up multi-shot damage probably by a factor of 2, so double it, which should I think give the DH the power to reach this GR 130. Now I don't do terribly much DH, so it may have to be a bit more power, but you get the idea. It's the most commonly used build, it can do loads of different things, it's very flexible, so I think a tweak would probably help out anybody who felt they didn't want to leave the Demon Hunter behind this season, and at least they are getting something to, some change basically. Now I'd also suggest buffing Trags as the set for the Necro. The number I'm not entirely sure, but I would say it should be big enough to make Blood Mages a T16 viable and easy to set up build. This would also bring back the Blood Lancer. Now, in my opinion, that's not a very good push build. It really made my hands hurt when I played it that season when it was the absolute top build, but it's about the simplest thing I can think of without reworking any of the skills or items. Obviously you could just simply up the Inarius damage, or just pick any of the sets and give them a damage multiplier that is bigger, but Inarius did get buffed last time out, so it would be nice to see Trags go up, and Blood set's pretty cool, so that's probably what I'd pick just for sheer ease. Now if you guys have got any better ideas, and I'm almost certain you will, please do stick them in the comments. You never know you look. The devs may consider this video, they may read the comments, and fine, might not be this patch, but maybe next patch we can get some more stuff going. So in summary, Blizz, if you could just buff the DH, even if it's just slightly, and the same for the Necro, if you just give us something new for them, even if it's something small, I think this would make 268 better, and every class in the game would feel like they've got something. So that's probably all from me. Thanks very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, a thumbs up would be great. I will hopefully see you later on in the week for some more PTR footage, and hopefully some PTR builds and gameplay. I've been the Filthy Casual, take it easy, peace.